The communications shakeup surrounding the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has sparked another wave of scrutiny, and this time the numbers are impossible to ignore. A senior communications executive recently departed after less than a year in the role, marking yet another high-profile exit from the couple's California-based operation. On its own, a publicist leaving a position would not be unusual. The public relations industry is fluid by nature. Executives move between agencies, corporate roles, and personal branding assignments all the time. But when departures accumulate at a striking pace, observers begin asking different questions. Over the past 5 years, the Sussex organization has experienced repeated turnover across communications and administrative roles. Industry watchers estimate that more than 24 staff members have cycled through positions since the couple relocated to California in 2020. That level of churn stands out, particularly for a brand built around stability, philanthropy, and long-term media partnerships. The most recent departure followed closely behind a social media moment that generated unwanted headlines. A photograph taken at a high-profile gathering began circulating online, prompting commentary that quickly shifted attention away from the intended messaging. Instead of reinforcing status or influence, the image became a subject of online debate and viral speculation. From a communications standpoint, the incident was not catastrophic. Public figures endure viral moments regularly. However, timing matters. When a senior communications leader exits shortly after such an episode, the narrative often writes itself. Observers begin connecting dots, whether those connections are accurate or not. Sources familiar with entertainment PR dynamics say the challenge of representing polarizing public figures can be uniquely complex. Unlike corporate clients with structured messaging protocols, celebrity-driven brands often involve personal decision-making layered over business strategy. That blend can create tension between image management and personal autonomy. The Sussex brand operates at the intersection of royalty, activism, entertainment, and commercial media. That positioning offers opportunity, but also volatility. Every appearance, interview, or partnership carries heightened scrutiny. Minor missteps can escalate into global headlines within hours. Professionals hired into such environments face a delicate balancing act. They must protect reputations, coordinate media relations, and anticipate online reaction cycles, all while navigating personalities, expectations, and rapidly evolving narratives. The most recent communications executive brought an impressive resume, including leadership roles within major technology and entertainment companies. Industry peers initially viewed the appointment as a signal that the Sussex operation intended to stabilize and professionalize its external messaging. During her tenure, several notable initiatives were launched. Media appearances were coordinated, philanthropic messaging was streamlined, and partnerships were highlighted across digital platforms. From a structural standpoint, the communications infrastructure appeared more centralized than in previous years. Yet, even structured systems can be undermined if strategy and execution diverge. Public branding depends not only on professional guidance, but also on client discipline. In the entertainment industry, reputations often rise or fall based on consistency. If messaging shifts abruptly or reactive decisions override planning, even seasoned professionals can struggle. Observers in Hollywood describe the Sussex media journey as ambitious but uneven. Major deals were signed early in their California transition. Streaming partnerships, podcast agreements, and production initiatives positioned the couple as global media players rather than former working royals. However, execution has proven more complicated than initial announcements suggested. Some projects achieved moderate visibility but failed to sustain long-term momentum. Others faced criticism that overshadowed promotional efforts. When momentum slows, public relations teams often become both shield and scapegoat. In high-profile environments, communications departments are expected to absorb impact, manage fallout, and preserve forward motion. But when exits continue, outside analysts begin questioning whether the issue lies deeper than messaging. Multiple entertainment insiders have noted that repeated staff turnover can create its own reputational spiral. Each departure generates fresh headlines, Each headline reinforces perceptions of instability. That perception can then affect hiring, partnerships, and investor confidence. The Sussex operation has also recently restructured aspects of its philanthropic framework. The foundation now operates under a fiscal sponsorship model, a move commonly used by nonprofits seeking administrative efficiency or cost reduction. While such models are not inherently negative, they often signal recalibration rather than expansion. Financial filings over the past few years show fluctuating donation levels, with early enthusiasm tapering in subsequent cycles. That inconsistency complicates long-term planning and staffing. Nonprofits rely heavily on predictable funding to sustain teams and programming. Without it, contraction becomes likely. Meanwhile, media partnerships have faced mixed reception. Lifestyle programming and documentary content have generated attention, but not universal acclaim. In the streaming era, viewership metrics heavily influence renewal decisions. Platforms evaluate performance through data, not sentiment. Industry analysts suggest that entertainment companies prefer low-drama partnerships focused on deliverables. When surrounding narratives overshadow content itself, corporate partners grow cautious. All of this creates a pressure cooker environment for communications professionals. They must juggle internal alignment, external scrutiny, and relentless digital commentary. It would be overly simplistic to attribute every departure to personal conflict or workplace dysfunction. High-profile roles are inherently demanding. Some executives may have joined for transitional periods by design. Others may have pursued independent ventures. However, the accumulation of exits has undeniably shaped public perception. In branding, perception matters as much as reality. The Sussex enterprise began with extraordinary promise, and globally recognized prince and an American actress stepping into independent life carried enormous cultural intrigue. Their platform combined humanitarian aspirations with Hollywood access. 5 years later, the narrative feels more complicated. Staff turnover, fluctuating partnerships, and strategic resets have created questions about sustainability. Organizations evolve, brands recalibrate, leaders adapt. The key question now is whether the Sussex operation can achieve long-term stability or whether the revolving door will continue spinning. Because in the world of image-making, consistency is currency. And right now, consistency remains the one asset still under construction. Beyond staffing changes, broader structural challenges face the Sussex brand. When the couple relocated to California, they secured headline-grabbing deals with major media companies. Streaming platforms and audio distributors invested heavily, betting on global curiosity and storytelling potential. Initial releases generated massive attention. Documentaries and interviews drew strong early numbers. Yet, sustaining engagement over time requires more than curiosity. Audiences demand compelling content that extends beyond personal narrative. Some projects faced critical scrutiny, particularly lifestyle-focused programming intended to reposition the Duchess as a modern domestic and entrepreneurial figure. Critics questioned authenticity, supporters praised independence. The polarized response reinforced a pattern that has followed the couple since their departure from royal duties. Corporate partners are pragmatic. They assess whether public conversation translates into subscriber retention, advertising growth, and brand alignment. Mixed reception complicates renewal negotiations. Meanwhile, podcast ventures encountered similar turbulence. After high-profile announcements and extended development periods, output slowed. In the fast-moving digital economy, delays can erode enthusiasm. The philanthropic arm also entered a recalibration phase. Transitioning into a fiscal sponsorship model allows for leaner administration and potentially reduced overhead. Many nonprofit initiatives adopt such frameworks to focus resources directly on programming rather than staffing. Still, perception again plays a role. When restructuring coincides with staff exits and uneven media performance, observers interpret it as contraction. Financial sustainability remains central. Early fundraising enthusiasm often follows major life transitions. Over time, maintaining donor excitement requires measurable outcomes and consistent engagement strategies. Without steady inflows, long-term expansion becomes challenging. Public appearances have increasingly become part of the revenue ecosystem. Speaking engagements, event appearances, and curated partnerships offer income streams, separate from foundation donations or streaming deals. This diversification is common among public figures seeking independence from institutional funding. However, visibility must be carefully managed. Appearances intended to reinforce credibility can backfire if messaging feels inconsistent or reactive. Industry analysts note that the Sussex brand operates in a uniquely complex space. It combines legacy royal association with American celebrity entrepreneurship. That dual identity attracts global attention, but also conflicting expectations. Some audiences expect deference to tradition, others expect disruption. Navigating both simultaneously requires precise strategy. Internally, consolidating communications under a smaller leadership structure may offer tighter message control, but reduced staffing also increases vulnerability to overload and burnout. Long-term stability will depend on three key factors. First, disciplined content strategy. Deliverables must align with announced ambitions. In the streaming era, production quality and consistency determine survival. Second, organizational culture. Retaining experienced professionals requires clarity, trust, and collaborative decision-making. Third, narrative restraint. Not every controversy demands response. Selective engagement can reduce amplification of minor issues. 5 years ago, the Sussex move to California symbolized reinvention. Reinvention, however, is not a one-time act. It is a continuous process requiring adaptation. Brands recover, public memory shifts, media cycles reset, but only when leadership embraces recalibration rather than deflection. The current moment represents an inflection point. Continued turnover will reinforce instability narratives. Stabilization could gradually rebuild confidence. The entertainment industry has short attention spans. It rewards momentum and punishes inconsistency. Whether the Sussex operation enters a new phase of consolidation and strategic clarity or continues navigating turbulence will define the next chapter. For now, the headlines focus on departures and restructures. But beneath those headlines lies a broader story about modern celebrity, media economics, and the fragile balance between autonomy and accountability. The future of the brand will not be determined by a single viral photo, a single executive exit, or a single streaming review. It will be determined by whether lessons are absorbed and whether strategy finally outweighs spectacle.